Let's take a breath together. So the talk title this morning is Good Work, which for many of us immediately presumes there's bad work, right? Because we live in this human realm where we tend to believe in opposites. It's one of the challenges of science of mind, I think, because we're, okay, you need to behave. There we go. A lot of our teaching is framed in the context of good, that the universe is always working for your good. And I think one of the challenges that we have to navigate in this human realm is the silliness of language that we've created. And I say silliness because it helps me hold it a lot more lightly. If you look up the word work in the dictionary, there are over 20 definitions with at least 5 sub-definitions under each of those definitions that are slightly different. I suspect there are over 7.5 billion definitions of work, because that's how many people are on the planet, right? I did a little thing on Facebook and asked folks what work meant to them. Because I can look it up. I know what the dictionary says, but what does it mean to us as individuals? And I got a really broad range of responses, all the way from it's a dirty word to I don't know anymore, it's been so long I forgot. Those people are retired. And one share really moved me because the individual shared quite vulnerably how they tend to get stuck in self-judgment, comparing the work they do in the world to the earth standard of the work other people do in the world. And how easy, I was reminded of how easy it is to get stuck in valuing our work based on our paycheck, right? Thank God teachers don't do that. Because if teachers valued their work based on their paycheck, I suspect many of us would be illiterate. Because I don't think we'd have very many teachers left. Thank God social workers don't value the work they do in the world based on their paycheck. We would have, we already have an enormous amount of unserved people, but we would have even more. If I, as a minister, valued what I do in the world based on the dollar amount I'm paid, I wouldn't be a minister at all. I would be an angry, resentful human being that was busy pointing fingers and standing in judgment of everybody who doesn't go to church and doesn't give to a church and doesn't appreciate ministry and doesn't take the time to understand what we really do or to know what we really do. And what would the point of that be? The only valid point I could think of in this human realm would be to create a very large exit door for myself to get out of ministry. Because when I think of work and I juxtapose it with love, I'm reminded of what Ernest Holmes said, that every manifestation, every desire of our heart must be paid for by mental and spiritual currency. It's not about what I get. It's about what I give. And I'm going to stick with the whole ministry thing here for a minute. And here's why. Every one of you is a minister to something and somebody. Ernest Holmes said, anyone who practices science of mind is a practitioner of science of mind. Now, that doesn't mean you have a license to work in the professional realm as a minister. That's different. We have licensed practitioners. That comes with a code of ethics. It comes with a huge responsibility, as does ministry. But just because you don't have a license doesn't mean you're not ministering. Every parent has ministered to their children. Every human being that is owned by a pet, see what I did there? Has ministered to that pet. Because if ministry is about the work of connection, if it is about the work of uplifting consciousness, if it is about the activity of love, well, I'm pretty sure that every one of us is ministering to somebody or something all the time. When you water your plants, are you not ministering to your plants? And by ministering to your plants and adding oxygen to this human realm, are you not ministering to anyone that comes into the space that breathes that oxygen? When we limit ourselves to an earth definition of something, of anything, we limit our awe and wonder. And this month, we're looking at the awe and wonder of work. Now, admittedly, it takes a little while to get there because we have all of these generational things about work. Right? I don't know what it's like to be raised in the North, but I know being raised in the South, you are born to work hard, really hard. And who you are as a human being is measured by how hard you work, how much you produce, how many people you help, and how quietly you surrender to how little you make to do all that. See, what if we reframe all of that? What if work isn't hard? What if work is simply an exchange of energy? Because it is. Scientifically, work is simply energy mobilized. That's all it is. And what if we really chose, and I use the word choose intentionally because we're not going to accidentally become happy about work. It's not going to happen. We have to choose it. We have to choose what we believe about work. One of Deborah's former relationships is a good reminder to me about we can choose to be delighted and to be in awe and wonder and do good work in the world no matter what we do. The person she was in relationship with was a drug and alcohol counselor for a long time. Did a tremendous amount of work helping people. And one day they woke up and said, I'm done. I want to be a garbage collector. I'm not making it up. And they quit their job and they went to work on the streets of San Francisco picking up people's trash. And they were ecstatic. They developed relationships, not just hello, hi relationships, but they knew the people that they picked up the trash for. They engaged in a sacred exchange of human relationship while they're picking up garbage. Stress level was lower. So I'm told. I'm still trying to wrap my head around how driving a trash truck on the streets of San Francisco is low stress, but okay. The point being, if we choose what we're doing, we can choose to be in awe and wonder, even if it's picking up somebody else's trash. That's the power of choice that we have. But that demands that I stop letting somebody else's idea of work be my experience. So that means I have to get in there, dig around a little bit, sit with myself, and ask, what does work mean to me? What was I taught about work? Do I really believe that now? One of the things that I really got from watching this film that we're going to look at in October about Bill W. He initially tried to get his footing in the New York Stock Exchange. That was the work that he thought he was supposed to do in the world. Because work, good work, comes with a good paycheck, right? Anybody else taught that? Right? What if it doesn't? What if the good work that you're called to do in the world has no paycheck? None. What if the good work you're called to do in the world even marginalizes your own participation in the work that you created? But it's yours to do. See, that requires us to navigate experience at a whole different level. And so what if we make synonymous work and love so that we're doing love in the world? That I don't need to be paid to love you. That I don't need to be paid to love the earth. That I don't need to be paid to love myself. That I don't need to be paid at all. I want to be, but maybe we reframe the difference between want and need. Now, I'm sure many of you just went to, yeah, but I have bills. Because we do. That's the system we've created here on planet Earth. Right? If you want electricity in this neck of the woods, you got to pay PG&E a certain amount of money. If you want groceries, you got to pay the grocery store a certain amount of money. It's just how we set it up. Okay? I don't know if that'll ever change. Honestly, I don't care anymore. What I care about is where my focus is, where I'm living from, more than what I'm living for. Let me say that again. Where are we living from instead of what are we living for? And so I'm going to wrap up with inserting work in there. Where are you working from instead of what are you working for? Where are you working from? And so I invite you, if you still have a job here on planet Earth, this next week, every day that you go to work, go to your job from a choice of love. Choose to show up because you choose to love as the activity of your job. While you're there, consciously choose every task as the movement of love. See if it changes things for you, especially if you don't like your job. Okay? Especially if you dislike some of your coworkers. Choose to interact with them from love. Not to get anything, but to simply be a loving presence and see what it shifts.